This is the April 24th Environmental Control Board meeting. We have a quorum, and I just want to remind everyone seated at the table today that because these meetings are being recorded and then subsequently transcribed, if you could wait to be recognized before speaking so that we continue to have a clean transcript and know that we can get that without people speaking over each other. So I appreciate your cooperation. Okay, before we get to the substance of today's meeting, is there a motion to adopt the minutes from our last meeting of March 27th? Okay, thank you. Any abstentions? Ronaldo? Abstains. So the first item on our agenda is our quarterly presentation. As all of you are familiar with, this is the quarterly data that we like to present to you that will take a look back at January, February, and March for 2014, give you a snapshot of where we are, and also to give you a picture of how the decisions are being handled in terms of outcomes and percentages and so on. So Amy, are you presenting today? Amy Slipper is presenting. Will I be in the way, or should I move over?
That's probably.
Is that good? Okay.
Okay, good morning. As Sue said, the quarterly review gives you a snapshot of where ECB is. Gives you, tells you the number of violations received by ECB, and a quarterly comparison of the violations received, heard, and decisions rendered, and a look at the elapsed time from hearing to decision date, and a look at the decision results for each of the issuing agencies, and lastly, a look at the most commonly issued violations by agency. Okay, so let's begin. So violations received by ECB in the first quarter of 2014. So for the Department of Sanitation, it's 78,425, and that's a 10% decrease from last quarter. Department of Buildings, 6% increase from 10,760 to 11,422. Department of Transportation, a 4% increase from 7,522 to 7,819. The Fire Department is a 14% increase from 10,508 to 12,019. Department of Environmental Protection is an 8% decrease, 3,325 to 3,062. And the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene is a 27% decrease from 6,114 to 4,442. Department of Parks and Recreation is a 23% decrease from 1,751 to 1,356. NYPD is a 25% decrease from 6,296 to 4,726. The Department of Information and Technology is an increase from 178 to 254. And the Business Integrity Commission is from 12 to 8. And the Landmarks Preservation Commission is up from 10 to 61, a 510% increase. Yes, Dan Albano.
Yeah, Dan Albano. This quarter, would it be compared to last quarter or the quarter from, first quarter from 2013?
This quarter was comparison from last quarter.
Okay.
Okay, and now this is a quarterly comparison comparing from first quarter 2013 to first quarter 2014. Okay, all right. So for the Department of Sanitation is bear with me for 1 second. Okay, it's an 11% increase from 70,776 to 78,425. For the Fire Department, it's a 9% increase from 10,995 to 12,019. For the Department of Buildings, it's from 10,572 to 11,422, which is an 8% increase. Department of Transportation, 6,934 to 7,819, is a 13% increase. NYPD is a decrease of 3% from 4,879 to 4,726. Department of Health and Mental Hygiene is a 36% decrease from 6,940 to 4,442. Department of Environmental Protection is a 5% decrease from 3,236 to 3,062. Department of Parks and Recreation, it's a 20% increase from 1,131 to 1,356. Department of Information and Technology, 58% increase from 161 to 254. Landmarks from 44 to 61 is a 39% increase. BIC from 35 to 8 is a 77% decrease. Okay. Any questions? Okay, and the total violations heard, again, this is comparing the first quarter in 2013 to the first quarter of 2014. So the Department of Sanitation is a 34% decrease. So from 21,144 to 13,983. Department of Buildings is a 3% decrease from 11,758 to 11,445. Fire Department is a 16% increase from 4,168 to 4,840. Police Department is a 7% decrease from 4,272 to 3,976. Department of Environmental Protection is a 14% increase from 3,109 to 3,546. Department of Health is a 13% decrease from 3,643 to 3,160. Department of Transportation is a 16% decrease from 2,236 to 1,889. DeWitt is an 83% increase from 498 to 909. Parks, very marginal, like 0%, 334 to 333. Landmarks, it was a decrease of 59% from 32 to 13. BIC was a 75% decrease from 4 to 1. Here we have, again, comparing the first quarter of 2013 with first quarter of 2014 decisions rendered. So for the Department of Sanitation, it decreased by 9% from 12,254 to 11,091. Department of Buildings decreased 3% from 6,409 to 6,201. Fire Department, it was up 21% from 3,107 to 3,744. NYPD is marginal again, 2,903 to 2,905. Health is a 16% decrease from 3,118 to 2,631. Department of Environmental Protection, a 12% increase from 1,724 to 1,937. Department of Transportation, a 14% decrease, 1,550 to 1,338. Parks was a 7% increase, 237 to 253. DeWitt was a 62% increase from 151 to 244. Landmarks was a decrease of 72% from 32 to 9. And BIC was a decrease of 75% from 4 to 1. Hearings to decisions. Okay. Very happy to say that in the first quarter, 90% of our decisions were completed in less than 10 days, and 98.1% were completed in less than 20 days. And that's the time from the hearing to the decision date. Okay, so this is overall comparison of the decisions rendered, the results in violation or dismissed, and it's comparing first quarter of 2013 with the first quarter of 2014. So in 2013, 57.7% of all violations returned to ECB were found in violation, 41.1% were dismissed. In 2014, 60.2% were found in violation, 38.7% were dismissed. And in comparing the 2013 and 2014, approximately 1% of the violations are stipulated.
What does that mean?
Stipulated, Department of Buildings, for example, offers a stipulation where a person can agree that they have they created the violation, that they admit to the violation, and they agree to pay a penalty, and they will comply. Building department has a compliance card where they will comply with the violating conditions, correct the violating conditions within 75 days.
Or reduce penalty.
Or reduced penalty, correct. Okay, also, Department of Environmental Protection has stipulated penalties too, so it's part of the penalty schedule. Okay, decisions rendered after hearing, this is broken down by agency. So for the first quarter, this is 2014. So for the Department of Sanitation, 52% were dismissed, 48% were found in violation. For the Fire Department, 88% were found in violation, 11% dismissed. Fire Department also issues a stipulation, offers a stipulation, and it's 1% accepted that. Department of Environmental, DOB, Department of Buildings, 75.4% in violation, 24.5% dismissed. Department of Environmental Protection, 66.4% in violation, 19.4% dismissed. Transportation, 67% in violation, 33% dismissed. NYPD, 49% in violation, 51% dismissed.
When we say dismissed, it's because the summons was facially deficient, they didn't write the right, as we discussed a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, Lieutenant Albano is asking questions as to why a case would be dismissed. There are various reasons. Yes, there could be a defect on the ticket in the face. For example, if there's no section of law cited correct, or the name of the respondent's not there, or something like that. Or it could be someone came in and presented a defense on merits, which the judge found to be credible, so they rebutted the prima facie case. So,
Do you have any way of breaking that down, drilling down on that number a little more as to which one, how many are because the person presented a better case, or as opposed to problems with the...
we have reason codes. We have reason codes why a case is dismissed, and I believe if you go into open data, there's a breakdown. I'm asking someone in the audience here, Joe Hughes.
It should be there.
It's there. So on this open data, which is accessible to everyone, you can look at and figure out why cases are dismissed, the reasons for dismissed.
That element should also be in the nightly feed of data that your agency receives from us. Through data sheet.
Yes, Teo Kurtzman.
Also, I'm not sure if you get the EcoStat reports for your agency, but it's broken down in there.
Right, exactly. And David Golden's working on that, so you could speak with David Golden about that. Okay? Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, 58% dismissed, 42% in violation. BIT, I guess all in violation, one ticket was found in violation. Department of Parks and Recreation, 58% in violation, 42% dismissed. Landmarks, 89% in violation, 11% dismissed. And DeWitt, 67% in violation, 33% dismissed. Okay, so now you have the most commonly issued violations by agency. For Department of Transportation, it's failure to obtain confirmation number, and failure to comply with the terms and conditions of your permit, and opening a street without a permit. For Buildings Department, it's failure to comply with Commissioner's order, failure to maintain in a compliant manner, and work without a permit. For NYPD, it's vending in a bus stop, failure to display license, or items not in and under cart. So these are vending violations. For sanitation, well, it makes sense for this first quarter that it would be snow, ice, and dirt on sidewalks. Failure to clean 18 inches into the street and dirty area. For the Department of Environmental Protection, it's failure to submit an annual test report for a backflow preventer, operating without renewing or an expired operating certificate, and failure to install a backflow preventer. For health, it's failure to eliminate rodent infestation, and for signs, and then it's failure to eliminate conditions conducive to rodent, and it's just general miscellaneous health code provisions. For the fire department, it's fire protection system failed to prevent unnecessary alarms, inspection and testing, and posting of permits. For landmarks, it's work without a certificate of approval, for different types of things. You know, it could be a banner, it could be a sign, it could be a flag, it's basically it. And for Do It is installation, operation of a public payphone without a permit, failure to provide working public payphones, and failure to clean and maintain the payphones. For Big, it's idling motor vehicle engine over 3 months, failure to register wholesale or market business, and loose rubbish. And for Parks, it's failure to comply with directions, prohibitions on the signs, unleashed or uncontrolled animals, and unauthorized presence in the park when it's closed to the public. Hey, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Nothing at all? Okay, thank you.
Should we do the appeal?
Oh, I've got the appeals. Okay, wait, we'll go back. Good point. Okay, so the appeals. Appeal violations by issuing agency, thank you. For the Department of Sanitation, number of violations 531. For buildings,
Amy,
300.
let me just clarify.
Yes.
This is the number that the agency appealed or just the number that we received?
This is the number that the agency appealed. No, this is the number that we received. Okay. Okay, clarification from the audience. Sorry about that. So this is the number of appeals we have received for the first quarter, which I think makes more sense. So for sanitation, it's 531. For buildings, it's 354. Fire department, 89. Transportation, 67. Health, 48. DEP, 42. NYPD, 36. Parks, 14. Oh, look, the one violation that was found in violation. They're appealing. Anyway, and for Do It, it's 1. Okay? Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks again. Okay, and as Amy mentioned, open data is also an incredible resource for not only the public but for the agencies looking to get further refinement on those numbers. You're able to drill down exactly by dismissal codes, the reasons for the dismissals, etc. So it gives a lot of information, and it's worth just playing around with that portal because there is so much there. Next up on the agenda is a presentation from the General Counsel's Office regarding the sanitation penalty schedule. Angelina is going to be presenting today.
Good morning. So this proposed rule is coming from last month's proposal by the Department of Sanitation. There were some lettering that happened pursuant to local law 77 of 2013. So a couple of the provisions, actually 4 provisions in the penalty schedule were changed as a result of that. And this local law related to a citywide yard waste collection program by the Department of Sanitation. And the only thing that's different from the proposal that you saw last month is that the persistent violator amount in the proposal was 500, and we double checked, and really the correct amount is 400, so the proposed rule reflects that. Do you guys have any questions?
No? Okay. Well, with that, is there a motion to approve? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Madeline's going to abstain. And with that, we will proceed with the capital process. Okay. That was quick and easy. Thank you. Okay, next up is the DEP request for cease and desist orders. Russ Bukunis is going to present.
Okay, good morning. So DEP has quite a few cease and desist requests this month. I'll start out with the noise ones and do those one at a time.
Please.
Okay. All right, so the first one is for 265 Lafayette Ristorante LLC at 265 Lafayette Street in Manhattan. This is a restaurant called Sant Ambrosius. There has been some news coverage on this one. And the last page of the attack, not the last page, but in the enclosure, there is actually a picture of the problem, which is the kitchen exhaust, which is this large silver thing that's connected to a duct. And as you can see where they put it, it is surrounded by people's windows. And so this equipment has been cited already 4 times this year for excessive noise. And based on the repeated violations and the continuing failure to come into compliance, DEP is requesting that the board issue an order to cease and desist. We'll do these one at a time?
Let's do the noise ones one at a time, and then we can do the backflow.
Okay, that's
Those
fine.
are more standard. Let's take any questions for Russ Peters on this particular case. Any questions? Okay, Russ, you want to go ahead?
Okay, the next one is Best Margarita Incorporated. Again, this is a restaurant, and this one is in Brooklyn at 172 Norman Avenue. And again, the problem is noise from the kitchen exhaust, and this one has been cited on 4 occasions since last June for excessive noise, and again, based on the continuing violations and the failure to correct, DEP is requesting that the board issue an order to cease and desist.
Any questions on Best Margarita? Okay.
The next one is another restaurant. This one is Cafe Tallulah LLC at 240 Columbus Avenue in Manhattan. Again, the problem is noise from kitchen exhaust. This one has been cited 3 times since October, most recently earlier this month. And again, due to the repeated violations and continuing failure to comply, DEP is requesting an order to cease and desist.
Any questions?
And
Emily, I know
the last one is slightly different. It is again a restaurant, Classic Cooking LLC. It is in Queens, and this one is not a kitchen exhaust. This one is related to 3 large refrigeration units that the restaurant has out in back of their premises. And on different occasions, we have cited violations to either 1, 2, or all 3 of the units. So since they have all been in violation on different occasions, DEP is requesting an order to cease and desist that would cover the refrigeration units collectively.
I actually had a question on that, Russ. I was having a hard time visually imagining what you meant by a refrigerator. Like, do they have like fridges outside?
These are 3, they're like out in back of the restaurant.
Yeah.
I actually did have pictures, but I don't think they're attached to this.
What do they look
Maybe
like?
a diagram of
It's just
this.
like an air
Like
conditioner?
an air conditioner.
Yeah.
It just cools the stuff that refrigerates the unit that's inside.
I see, okay, because I was thinking it was like you just ran out of space inside and you could.
No, they're not like, they're not like meat
I was like, wow,
lockers.
could you do that? Okay.
Yeah, no, they're not like meat lockers.
Okay, okay. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, so let us then vote collectively on these noise cease and desist requests. Is there a motion to approve all 4? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Russ, of course.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
Okay, next, DEP has 9 requests for cease and desist orders relating to boilers with expired certificates of operation. In all of these cases, the respondent's certificate of operation for their boiler burner has been expired for varying periods of time. These are all boilers that were last certified to run on number 6 oil. And in each of these cases, DEP has issued a NOV, which has been adjudicated in violation. They have failed to comply within the 30 days that is incorporated in the decision on the NOV. And due to the fact that these boilers are operating uncertified on number 6 oil and have been found in violation, DEP is requesting in each of these 9 cases that the board issue an order to cease and desist.
let's open up for questions on any of these 9 requests. Any facts, any information that you want to know?
C&D is a predicate for,
Tom Spetner.
I'm sorry, Tom Spetner. That's a predicate for shutting them off eventually, right? We're not going to shutting off boilers.
Well, in terms of sealing them?
Procedurally, I mean, what happens next, I guess?
Well,
is
I
my
mean,
question.
for example, in the first batch of 6, 2 of them failed to appear for hearings. Normally, we would go out and seal the equipment if it was a noise case or something of that nature. Both of the respondents that failed to appear were rather large managing agents that operate a lot of buildings in the city. So we just figured out sort of how to get in touch with somebody at their offices and just called them and said, you failed to appear for this cease and desist. And they have both rescheduled. It may come to a point where we may have to, go out to seal one of these things. And I think there was a question at the last board meeting as to the expense of a temporary boiler in case we did have to seal one. And what I was told is that, well, it varies based on the size of it and the amount of time that you rent it for. On average, it's about $2,500 a week to rent one of those.
Okay. Well, we haven't reached that stage. We haven't reached that stage yet.
No, not at all.
Any other questions for us on the 9 boiler cease and desist requests? Okay, let's take a vote on those. Is there a motion to approve? Anyone against? Okay.
And finally, we have 28 requests for cease and desist orders for people, for respondents who have not complied with orders to install backflow prevention devices, and those are the same 28 requests pretty much as we have every month.
Okay. Any question on the backflows? Okay, those are pretty standard. So is there a motion to approve? Anyone against? Anyone else opposed or abstained? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next up, we have Kelly Corso with ECB, who is going to be talking to us about pre-sealing reports.
Good morning. We have 18 pre-sealing reports for today, 4, all of which were issued after live hearings. All the pre-sealing reports pertain to failure to install backflow devices. 17 of the reports recommended that there be no sealing or other action to bring respondents' compliance. The remaining pre-sealing report is for C&D order number 2013/061, and this report recommends sealing, so I'm going to discuss this in a little more detail. In this case, the respondent is 185-225 Park Hill LLC. The premises is located at 185 Park Hill Avenue in Staten Island. And this is a 6-story building that has approximately 150 residential units and a laundromat. There apparently are 4 water lines, 2 are domestic and 2 are fire. The case history goes back to April 1st, 2011. At that time, the commissioner's order was issued, ordering the respondent to install backflow prevention devices in his water service pipes at the premises within 30 days. Over a year later, on July 10th, 2012, DEP issued a violation to the respondent because it had failed to install the required devices. The violation was heard and sustained on March 14, 2013. The hearing was held after 5 reschedules and adjournment by the respondent. Again, the violation was sustained and a penalty amount of $700 was imposed. A little over a month later, on April 25, 2013, after an inspection of DEP records that indicated that no backflow device had been installed at the premises as required, the board issued a cease and desist order. The order directed the respondent to appear for a special hearing on May 21st, 2013 to show good cause whether water supplied to the respondent's building should not be terminated or the violating devices sealed. Then after 5 reschedules and adjournments by the respondent, at a hearing conference on November 12, 2013, it was determined that DEP had approved plans submitted by respondent's professional engineer for 4 backflow devices. The hearing was then adjourned 3 more times for the respondent to obtain Department of Building permits. After a hearing conference on February 4th, 2014, the hearing was adjourned again 4 times for the respondent to submit the original reports on test and maintenance for the 4 Blackflow devices. On April 1st, the pre-sealing hearing was conducted. At the hearing, the respondent's representative didn't provide any proof of compliance or progress toward achieving compliance. At the hearing, the representative stated that the last time he had spoke with the respondent's managing agent was on March 4th. At that time, the managing agent made a vague reference to modifications. The representative stated that his subsequent phone call and email to the managing agent on March 25th had not been returned. The representative also stated that he contacted the plumber on March 26th and that he received a vague statement from him that the plumber knew about the job and would let the respondent know what was going on. The representative acknowledged that he had not brought any new information to the hearing conferences for this case for some time and that he had no indication that the respondent is close to being done with work. At the hearing, the DEP representative stated that there is a holding tank, 2 large boilers, complex plumbing, and a laundromat at the premises. The DEP representative recommended sealing of specific hazards to the water supply while not cutting off the supply to residential units. Based on the lengthy history of the case and the respondent's failure to comply, the failure to provide a good reason for not sealing the specific hazards to the water supply, ALJ Jaffe has recommended that the specific hazards to the water supply be sealed while not cutting off the water supply to residential units.
I'm sorry, Kenny, what's the address?
The address is 185 Park Hill Avenue in Staten Island.
A question from Ernie Cavallo.
Because technically, how do they do that? How do they seal off part of these pipes without sealing off some of the water supply to the house?
I'll have
Or
to
to
defer
the
to
building?
I-
You
I-
don't know?
I-
We're going to defer to Russ Bakunis.
Yeah, this is the first time we would be doing this. Okay. In the past, there have only been recommendations to the board to terminate water to buildings where terminating the water would not sort of put people out of their houses. So because this is an apartment building, we can't recommend that the water supply be terminated because the whole building would be out in the street. So what we would do here probably for starters is just send in inspectors, possibly with police backup, and seal the laundry room. Okay, because the laundromat is one of the reasons why they need a backflow device. Sealing the laundry room might be enough to get them into compliance. Okay, so we wouldn't.
The commercial laundromat or
It's a laundry room
Laundry
for the
room.
people in the building, I'm assuming. It's not, I don't think it's a commercial laundromat. There's also, the other things were a holding tank and 2 large boilers. Okay, so we could seal those as well without putting people out of the building. They would have to get a temporary boiler. So this would be something where we would try and get them into compliance by sealing the specific equipment that was causing them to need the backflow device instead of terminating the water supply to the whole building.
Okay, Elizabeth Noah?
Just in terms of the equipment that required the backflow device, I think we've seen in certain cases where there's been violations of not having backflow devices, that they were required for sprinkler systems.
Yeah, we would not close a fire sprinkler system. This is not one of those cases, I don't think. They didn't mention a fire sprinkler in the list of things that. No. So I don't think this is one of those cases, but we would not try to force them into compliance by sealing a fire sprinkler system.
Mike, you would have to vacate the building. Right?
That's Dan Albano speaking.
It depends, maybe, maybe not. There are, sorry to say, of course, there are provisions for fire guards and there are other precautions that can be taken if the fire suppression system is out of service.
Any other questions for Kelly on this particular 185 Park Hill case? Okay. And then the other 17, you said, there was no recommendation for sealing. So let us take a vote, first of all, on the 17 that don't require any sealing. Is there a motion to approve those 17? Anyone against? Abstentions? Russ Bukunis. And let us take a vote on the recommendation for the 185-25 Park Hill LLC matter. Anyone in favor? Anyone against? And Russ abstained. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. And with that, we will now take a vote to move into executive session to discuss litigation. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Okay. Thank you, everyone. And anyone who is not part of OECD will have to leave us temporarily. Okay. Okay, and we are back in public session. Just as a matter of procedure, let's just make sure that anyone who stepped out during the executive session isn't waiting to return to the room. Can someone check for me? Okay. I don't think there's anyone who's going to be returning or joining us, so let us proceed with the votes on the appeals. There were two appeal panels, one from April 3rd and the other from April 17th. And is there a motion to approve the appeals decisions from both of those panels? Okay, thank you very much. Any other business we need to address before we adjourn? Okay, is there a motion? I'm sorry, Ronaldo Hilton?
How about the access to this building for the board members? Can something be arranged for us? Instead of having to join?
What's the process for you getting
It's a
in?
bit of a process.
You have to sign
at
in?
the desk, but then you've got to be
Every time
admitted.
take a photo.
Take a photo, present ID, but then you need a card swipe to get past one of these doors. And so you need to get some aid from the court officer or whatever that fellow was doing there by
Oh, I
the
see.
elevator.
And there was
Okay.
supposed to be someone stationed there.
Elizabeth Mowers. That's okay.
There was supposed to be someone stationed there, but I guess when that person is bringing someone else back, if you arrive.
Oh, there's no one to swipe you in.
Right.
So let us check with the building security and protocol and see what we can arrange to facilitate the board members getting in and out. I don't know that we're going to be able to issue building IDs, obviously, but let's see if there's something a little, something in between what we have now. But if we can issue IDs, obviously, I'll look into that. But we'll try to arrange that for next time. Elizabeth?
Just because I think it was also creating a bit of a hassle for the staff, just because they're
kind of
people
ushering
that
you
keep
in
shuttling people.
one by
in.
one.
Yeah.
And Tom?
Yes, there are actually two doors you need to be swiped through.
Yes.
One of them was ajar somewhat, so I was able to.
Yes. Apparently in this new building, there's an incredible wind tunnel effect. in the
Oh,
hallway.
fair enough, yeah, right.
Yeah, so there's an engineering defect, but there you go.
We're done with those issues.
Yeah, there you go. So, anyway, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, right.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and I will see you next month.
I will.